It is already time for a new tier list video. We have TINKATON and of course a new balance patch with the next step part 2. So a lot of things have changed around. I don't think there's no longer maybe a god tier Pokemon. As always, we have the top and bot path tier list above me. And to the right, the Central Area tier list. I'm going to be placing those at the same time. Again, I have to split them up into 2 tier lists, otherwise it doesn't really make a lot of sense to have it all combined, since some Pokemon are only good in Central Area and are very bad in top or bot path. This time we're just going to go through all the roles. We're going to start with Attacker Pokemon, and our first one is Venusaur. They're all, I think, in Dex order too, when it comes to this tier list. I think Venusaur's pretty fine, but they nerfed Solar Beam. Pelodense is pretty good, but I would say Pelodense is much better in Central Area, where I think it's up to an A+. Build again, while in top and bot path, the Pelodense Venusaur needs a bit too much experience, and Solar Beam again, it got nerfed, so drops a tiny bit. I think Pikachu in general is just a fine, solid Pokemon you can always pick. It's just very annoying. Don't pick it in Central Area though, of course, that's not where we want to see it. You have a lot of options, a lot of flexibility with Pikachu, so it's always pretty decent. I think Ninetales also another very flexible Pokemon, right? If the enemies have a lot of ranged Pokemon, you can go for Veil, or if they have a lot of dive, you can go for Veil. If you just want to combo melee Pokemon, you can go for Blizzard Avalanche. Makes it very versatile. Same as Pikachu, the enemies have a lot of ranged characters, right? We can go like Thunder and Thunderbolt, and Thunder and Thunderbolt. And if the enemies have a lot of like dive or single targets, you would just go Volt Tackle and Electro Ball, which makes them just a bit better than the other attacker, just because they have a bit more utility, and they could also run XP share. And Jungle, Central Area, I think Ninetales is not too bad with Veil. I think Veil, Central Area is actually quite decent. Gonna put it over there. Mewtwo still a solid, solid A, I would say. In Central Area, I really hate it. I think it just takes way too long to clear Jungle. So, but I think it doesn't matter what, even if it sucks to play, it's still not B tier. I think it's probably still A as well when it comes to Central Area. Mew, the usual B+, even though I think it probably should be higher. It just, in solo queue, Mew doesn't feel good to play. It's only good in coordinated play, otherwise it's quite mid. Same for Central Area, even though there you get much more experience, which means you can do a lot more damage. I think Espeon is a solid B+. Maybe also A, but I don't want to put too many attacker Pokemon up there, as attacker Pokemon are still quite mid. But I guess Espeon, is it better than Pikachu, Ninetales? I mean, Stored Power Psybeam is still good. I think if Stored Power Psybeam is here and Psyshock is like somewhere B+, I think that's totally fair. And in Central Area, maybe C with Stored Power. Gardevoir, quite solid. I think a solid B+ fits here, and in Central Area A. I think that's pretty good placement for Gardevoir. Glaceon, when it comes to top and bot path, just needs a bit too much experience to get going, but still quite annoying, doesn't matter what. And I think in Central Area also A is pretty fair for Glaceon. Shenandoah, I feel like, has dropped a lot. I hate seeing the candle being dropped this low. But again, B doesn't mean bad. B is the, you can definitely play these Pokemon and have a lot of success with them. But I feel like I can't put Glaceon above Shenandoah, maybe. I feel like that's kind of bad. So I'm just going to put them in the same tier when it comes to this. I think that makes it a bit better. And in Central Area, Shenandoah has also dropped a good amount. It's just too easily diveable. I know it has Imprison, but man, it just goes down so fast. Again, attacker Pokemon don't have a good time in the current meta. Delphox for Pass just needs a bit too much experience to put it much higher, but Fire Spin is definitely quite annoying. And for Central Area, yeah, I mean, I don't know, maybe B is fine for this too. I think Delphox is decent, but B means decent. I think B are just decent Pokemon, and it's pretty much decent, and that's about it. Greninja and Path, I'm gonna put from D to C tier. I think D is a bit, I was maybe a bit too harsh on the Surf and Smokescreen, and Solo Q definitely carry as a top and bot path build, but of course it's still outclassed by a lot of other things. And Central Area I still think is a solid A currently in the meta. Sylveon is pretty bad right now. I can't put into D though, so I'm gonna put into C tier, and in Central Area also into C. Mystifier can definitely Central Area, but it's nothing to write home about anymore. Definitely need some buffs again. I mean, they nerfed Mystifier and Draining Kiss for absolutely no reason, so. Decidueye, C right here, and in Central Area, probably B. Just very easy diveable, but I think Decidueye is not bad. I think it's a decent Pokemon if you know how to position right. It's definitely up there. Okay, maybe, honestly, Venusaur also goes down to, actually, Venusaur is hard to rank. No, they rank the other ones. I might want to put Venusaur also one down into A. We don't know even what the A+ Pokemon are yet, but I think maybe A is more fair as well compared to the other Pokemon I have in the same tier. Standard A still goes into D in the Path, and in Central Area to B tier. Just very mid Pokemon right now. Inteleon is better again. They just straight up buffed him after bug fixing. So I think to me it goes, I don't know if it goes back into A+, but definitely goes into A tier. And in Central Area, also back into A tier. For now, Cramorant needs some help right now. Very underperforming Pokemon. I think Dive and Air Slash is still pretty good in Central Area, but also still very in the middle. Duraludon, yeah, it's just, I mean, it's okay. It's just literally the most mid Pokemon the game has ever made. That's just, I think that summarizes it quite well. Dragapult should never be in top and bot path. When it comes to Central Area, we have it also probably in B. I mean, again, Attacker just very mid right now. That's why they're all around the mid thing. They're okay, you can still pick them and carry, but that's about it. I think Armarouge is still A, and when it comes to Central Area, to me, I think it's A+. Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I don't know. Is it better than other Attacker Pokemon? Not really, right? Like, it's still the same level as the others one. And then in Path, it's like B+, because it needs a lot of experience to really get those shields in, so you're able to live. But Rhydon, S tier, and both still currently the best Attacker Pokemon. You can see there's a big gap. Like, Attacker Pokemon, again, are not great right now. And but A still is, I mean, A is still decent ranking. Doesn't matter what. Now we head into the all-rounders, where we have Charizard currently top and bot path, very bad. Central Area, it's okay. Can be pickable. Nothing to write home about. Machamp, I think Machamp is probably a solid B+. I do like him, and still pickable. Still don't know why they nerfed him necessarily. I don't think it was really quite required. In Central Area, though, I'm not a big fan of Machamp. Dragonite in Path, one of the worst Path Pokemon in the entire game. And currently in Central Area, I think it's probably also, it has fallen a bit. I really haven't seen much Dragonite lately. Outrage got nerfed. Hyper Beam is still fine, and definitely under the radar, but nothing crazy either. Gyarados. I think Gyarados is also B+, maybe A. I mean, Gyarados is still pretty annoying. Wouldn't Central Area with it, even though you kinda can. Mewtwo X. Where does Mewtwo X go? It's so weird, but I think B is fair. And in Central Area, I think C. I really can't recommend playing this Mewtwo in general right now. But it's, even if you pick it, it's still, like, it's not a bad Pokemon at all. Azumarill. Azumarill probably B tier, even though I like it a lot now. B+, I guess. B+ is fair. And Central Area, I really can't recommend it too much, so it goes into C tier. Scizor, with the buffs, I think the problem with Scizor is it's still too, like, depending on what you're up against. That's always the issue, right? So you can have to wait for your opponents to pick stuff. So it's really hard to place it higher. But the buffs do feel nice. The buffs do feel nice. Like, if the enemies have a good comp for Scizor, it's up here. And if the enemies have a terrible comp, it's down here. So I think I still have to put it in the middle. It just depends so much on what the enemies have. And in Central Area, I think it's also B. Definitely pickable as a Pokemon. Scyther, a bit better, I would still say. If you know what you're doing, Scyther is actually quite the strong Pokemon. Trenata, very mid currently. But I can't put it lower than B tier when it comes to Central Area. Definitely not. Blaziken to me is still S tier in both. Just won't go away from there. It just does so many things. And it's such a great solo queue carry too. Just because it does so many things. Metagross, I guess B+ right here, and here also maybe a B. Actually, I mean, I like Metagross in Central Area much more than in lane, so I think A might be more fair there. Lucario, B+ or A. I mean, Lucario is very, very played, but it's definitely not bad. And Central Area I would never recommend Lucario in Central Area. Yeah, I think that looks fine. I think B+ might be a bit too harsh, though. Like, I have all these attack up here, but, I mean, they're decent Pokemon, right? Definitely. But Lucario A, I mean, we see it in tournaments as well again, so it definitely is a Pokemon you should not be sleeping on too much. Garchomp goes into A+. Currently a very good performing Pokemon. Same for Central Area. I can't quite put it into S tier because it has some very difficult matchups, but besides that, Garchomp is a very, very strong Pokemon. Aegislash goes into D tier in both. Needs help. Like, Aegislash needs so much help. I really don't want to put it much higher. Even though there's always going to be those people who are like, yeah, I perform well on Aegislash. And yes, you can do, but it's still such a struggle to play. Serena, solid A when it comes to top and bot path. And I think even in Central Area with Triple Excel, being a good Central Area build, much better than Stomp, I would say, goes also into A for Central Area. Mimikyu A+ over here and ST over here is just I mean, they nerfed Shadow Claw. Actually, because they have Shadow Claw, I guess I'm going to put it down a bit in Path, but in Central Area, because you can just go Shadow Sneak, Play Rough, Nothing changes in that department, but they nerfed Trick Room and Shadow Claw. And I feel like Shadow Sneak and Play Rough is not a good path build at all. So I'm just going to put it to B+, and again, they also nerfed Trick Room with the Shadow Claw nerf at the same time, so it just makes top and bot path Mimikyu much, much weaker. While Sentry Area Mimikyu is still overpowered. I think Buzzwolf feels very good again. Has multiple buffs. I mean, I think its win rate is a problem as well of skill issues. That's why its win rate is so low, but man, I feel like Buzzwolf is solid. It's either B+ or A tier again. I might regret putting into A, but it's such a frustrating Pokemon to be up against, and it can just snowball games insanely hard. In Sentry Area, not the greatest. It doesn't have carry potential, so it doesn't really make it a good Sentry Area Pokemon at all. Phalanx is good if the enemies don't counter you. Pretty straightforward. So, Sentry Area 2, it actually can Sentry quite well. It just depends. If the enemies have a counter, it's down here. If they don't have a counter, it's up here, so I'm going to put it in the middle of it. Just make sure you don't just blind pick or draft Phalanx first pick or something. Zacian feels very gutted now. Metaclaw lost so much power. I have a hard time judging now where it belongs. Very difficult time. They nerfed Metaclaw damage in half, which is ridiculous. And Sacred Sword. I mean, I'm going to put Zacian. I have no idea about. I'm going to be very honest. I don't know where to put Zacian. I'm going to put it into A for now and then see how it... I mean, you can still play I think Sacred Sword is still A. Doesn't matter what. And Metaclaw, they hit it so hard. 50% damage loss is a crazy, crazy nerf. So Metaclaw might just be gone again, while Sacred Sword is still probably solid A, or maybe A+. I think I need more data on this and more time to really understand how big the Zacian nerfs are. It's always difficult to make a tier list directly after a patch, but I'm trying my best from what I understand. I think Wicked Blow Shifu can definitely be C. If you have an XP share, it can also be B if you have an XP share lane partner. Again, all of these ratings could always be higher depending on what you're laning with. If you have an XP share partner, it can always be higher. All of these Pokemon on here can be a bit higher. Surging Strikes, though, I can't recommend. Wicked Blow easily, probably S tier right now. And Surging Strikes. I know Overlord pops off on it, but I'm in B maybe. It's an underperforming build right now. And they made it quite unfun, again, to play Surging Strikes to Shifu. Sterilage, probably with the buzz back to A+. And in Jungle also A+. I don't think it's enough for S. I think Bitter Blade felt very good again. I think, yeah, I played like 10 Bitter Blade games. And in 9 of those, I had over 100,000 damage, having double-digit KOs. So, Bitter Blade and Phantom Force feels very solid again. And Psycho Cut Flame Charge was also still a good performing build. So, I think A+ is fair. But maybe, I mean, top and pod path, it needs a bit more help. Maybe A is better there. And in Sentry Area, we go for A+. Now we have Tinkaton. I play a lot of Tinkaton. In my opinion, it goes into the S tier, 100%. And in Jungle, it goes into the D tier. Don't play Tinkaton in Sentry Area. It is not good. Also, this is only if you play Gigaton Hammer and Thief. If you play any other moveset combination, it's probably down here. So, this is only for Gigaton Hammer and for Thief, for nothing else. In my opinion, it does have very difficult laning sometimes, but this Pokemon is broken. And with how many high damage number games I have, like, it's just a very strong Pokemon. I put Gengar in B, because I think Hex Gengar is quite good. Are we now into Speedsters? Let's continue with our Speedsters. So Gengar into B tier. And in Jungle, I think also A tier. Actually, I think it's pretty decent Hex, right? Hex in Sludge form is pretty good right now. And even in top and bot path. Dodrio will always be a top performing Speedster, doesn't matter what. I'm going to put him into maybe even S tier in Sentry Area. If you play Dodrio, it's one of the best Pokemon in the entire game. In Sentry Area and top and bot path is also very, very good. Absol in top and bot path, not a big fan. But in Sentry Area, I think A+. Its Psycho Cut is a solid move right now, and I hate playing in Psycho Cut Absols. They just rip you apart, Psycho Cut Unite move, and you're gone. Not really fun to be up against. Then we have Leafeon. Still, its win rate has dropped a lot. But man, I hate playing against Leafeon. I just can't imagine putting it lower than A+. I don't know if it's still S tier. You definitely notice the nerf to Aerial Ace a tiny bit. 1 second is the same as Dive Cramorant. You might not think it's a lot, but Dive Cramorant also has lost a lot. But Leafeon is definitely a bit of a skill issue part on the player base, why it's low win rate. So I do think it's still such a frustrating Pokemon to be up against. It just one-shots you left and right. But it does have a hard time sometimes too. especially up against something like Mimikyu or Shifu who can just counter Unite move. It does struggle. Darkrai, in my opinion, is still S tier in both. I don't see why it wouldn't be. It lost a bit of damage, but not enough damage to where, like, it still stuns you for 2 seconds every, like, 1 second. Or every 3 seconds, it stuns you for 2 seconds. It can cycle its stuns. Its Unite move is huge to pick off a target. I wouldn't see why it's not S tier. I wouldn't see why it's not. Even with the nerfs to it. Zoroark. I mean, Zoroark is like a skill kind of Pokemon. Central Area still A+, maybe in top and bot path A. But it depends on how well you play it. It always depends on how well you play it. Talonflame, also very solid, goes into B right here. And in Central Area, I would also put it into probably A+ or A, maybe next to Gengar. Actually, Talonflame is super good. I feel like it's very, very strong Pokemon. Speedsters in general are decent. I mean, especially in Central Area, right? So, Zaora lags a bit behind, but I do think it's definitely, I mean, top and bot path. It can struggle, also needs good early game, otherwise it can be rough. And for Central Area, I would say A is fair for it. You can see how the Speedsters up here. Now we have Muscarada left, which is just, Muscarada is just a solid Pokemon. You can pick it whenever you want, you can do whatever you want. Very versatile, can go top path, bot path, Central Area. So I think A and A+ in Central Area is a good position. Up to Defender Pokemon next. Blastoise got a huge buff, and I think I'm going to put it up here into A+ already again with Surf and Hydro Pump. Its Unite move now has an 89-second cooldown. If Blastoise is not A+, I don't know what else. Like, it has to be a good Pokemon again. I would be surprised if it isn't. Slowbro, solid A. Lapras, solid B+. I do think Lapras is... maybe even... no, I think B+ more. Lapras still has some weaknesses, but it's a very underrated Pokemon. Snorlax, also easily B+ or even A. I think Heavy Slam and Yawn or Heavy Slam block is super good and competitive, but the more you go into solo queue, the more power, of course, it loses. Umbreon, still S tier. Ho-Oh has dropped a good amount. I'm going to put it into B+, even though it looks still absolutely ridiculous sometimes. I don't think I can put it much higher than this. Mamoswine, a B+. Crustle got a nerf. I'm going to put it down to B. They nerfed 4 things or 5 things on Crustle for absolutely no reason, so I'm going to put it a bit lower. Trevenant, I think A+ is also fair for Trevenant. Maybe even S tier, but I feel like I can't quite put it into S tier. I think that's a bit too much, but Trevenant is a very strong defender. Definitely. And Goodra goes into C, where it has been for quite a while. Then we have Greedent left, and Greedent, I think Greedent is also very good. A+ easily. And then Central Area, of course, none of these Pokemon should go into Central Area. So I'm going to place them. Like, I'm not going to place them at all into Central Area. They should just not be there. Of course, unless you want to have fun, which you can put like Goodra, Trevenant, Blastoise into the Central Area and have fun, but of course we can't recommend it. So now we have the last category left, which are supporter Pokemon. Currently, I would say Psyduck is still S tier. Whenever I play against a Psyduck, they're still super, super good and do quite a lot. Maybe it's A+, but S tier I think is still fair. Hoopa as well goes into S tier. We have Sableye, which is solid B+. Clefable is a good counter pick in draft. And in general, having a healer Pokemon is just very strong. Wigglytuff lags a bit behind, but I think Wigglytuff is underrated. I think B+. I think it's a pretty good Pokemon. I do hate playing against Wigglytuff. Mr. Mime, dropping from A to B+, which I think is, like, I mean, you know, again, B+ are good Pokemon. Blissey, easily A or S. Actually, Blissey probably also S tier. Just Safeguard, Helping Hand, or having the choice between countering the enemy team in multiple aspects. They have a lot of Poke, you go Softboard X. They have a lot of Engage and CC, you go Safeguard and Helping Hand. Makes Blissey such a versatile support right now. Very annoying to be up against. Comfy A, and Eldegoss with the buff spec to A+. You know, gets everything 1 level earlier now. And again, in Central Area, I'm not even going to consider those. This tier list is done. This tier list is done. I think I'm quite happy with it. There's maybe some things I would still switch around or are a bit questionable. There's not a lot of Pokemon in A+, so I could probably move some Pokemon up a bit further into A+. If I wanted to, like Slowbro, for example, I could move up, but I think A is still much more fairer for it. So yeah, that's it for the tier list. As always, let me know in the comments what you would put up higher, what maybe you would pay lower. I'm always curious to your guys' opinion, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye!